Welcome to another edition of Patty and the Millennials. I'm Patty Jackson. This is our podcast, and I'm joined by some great millennial women and one Gen X. It's going to be a great conversation. Blogger Shanine Speaks. We've got producer Tamara Stewart. We've got soon-to-be graduate from Rowan University, Troy Barnes. We have representing Gen X, Lisa Collins, communication specialist, Chocolate Divinity, Latoya Charleston, Mina Say What, Power 99 Rise and Grind Morning Show. Ladies, the question I pose for you, and Mina, you're going to start it off.
Oh, Lord.
Can a woman have it all? Can you be successful and have the love life and have the family? Does something fall short? Does something, I don't know, kind of like doesn't quite add up? If you're successful, are you punished as a woman? Is it harder for minority women? It's a discussion I want to talk about, ladies. Can you have it all?
That's a loaded question. Let's handle it one by one. Can a woman have it all? Absolutely she can, but not at the same time. I feel like women have to focus on certain things because as with the amazing women that we are, we throw so much on our plate, and the reality of the situation is when you have too much on your plate, something's going to slip through the cracks. So I feel like women can do it, but it needs to be in spurts. I feel like even with myself, I don't have children, but when I had a man, it's between balancing my man and my mom and my family and my personal time and then work. It just became really overwhelming. I can't even imagine throwing kids into the mix. I have a godson. Even balancing that is a lot, you know? So I think women can have it all, but it just needs to be split up. I was talking to a CEO of Bank of America. She runs the Latin version of Bank of America overseas, and she was saying that when she felt like she was doing awesome at her job, she felt like she was being a bad mom. When she felt like she was being an awesome mom, she felt like she was doing bad at her job. So I think it's just about trying to balance and just trying to focus. What am I doing now? What am I tackling for this moment, for this instance, for this week, for this month? And then I think it's possible. And then all the other questions, I think successful women are penalized. And I also think in the minority communities, it's a little bit, and I hate to say this, but it's a little bit more because of the gender roles that we have in our communities. Our men want to be men, you know, and they want to support us and do stuff like that. But a lot of times they feel intimidated by a woman that's successful, where some other cultures, the men don't really feel like they have those pressures.
Shanine, you are a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. And I do think women can absolutely have it all. And it's all about balance. It's all about welcoming transition. You have to know that whatever moment in time you're in at that moment, that's where your focus lies. And to piggyback off the lady you were saying who felt like she was just never in the right space.
Right.
That time comes. You just have to understand that success in any situation is always going to come with some kind of growth. So if you're growing as a mother, there are going to be times where you're not feeling at your best. It doesn't mean that you're not doing a good job as a mother. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be at a point in your life where you can feel like you're a good mother, have some successful kids, have a great job, and be awesome in love. So yeah, I do believe that we can have it all. It's all about balance, and it's all about knowing how to transition and doing it gracefully.
Representing Gen X, we've got Lisa Collins. Lisa, we've seen amongst, our own set, a lot of successful women cannot find love. They're just not, they may be great at their jobs, but coming to the love, it's a problem.
See, I think that we're allowing society or other people to define for us what having it all means or what love is and all those things. And we got to let that go. It's different for everybody. Define what it is for you and live in that. Shanine was absolutely right with balance. Find your balance. Find what works for you and don't let anybody define what that means to you. Be yourself and come into every relationship as a whole person. Don't expect someone to be your other half and make you whole. Be a whole person and come into it that way and live in that way and own it.
Chocolate Divinity. A lot of women aren't getting that balance. Do you think women are penalized if you're successful because the man feels intimidated?
Yes. I would have to agree with that. Just going by of different women that I'm around, different family members, I have women in my family who are super successful, but yet in the love department, it's just not there. And a lot of times you spend your life waiting on this person, but he can't handle your success. and then he's off doing his own thing with somebody else, and then you're just sitting there left with the bag in your hand like, well what happened here? It's just, I don't know, I guess I kind of feel like I'm starting to get to that level in my life where determining what it is that I want and what's the top one of my priority list.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say this. I am happy with being single. I can be single. I enjoy being single. But at the end of the day, I really don't want to spend my life without a partner. But at the end, like, I just need somebody who just understands my hustle, my drive. Have your own hustle, your own drive. If we can just work with each other and understand where each other are coming from and be there, please know I have unconventional hours. You might have unconventional hours. Stop comparing your relationships to other people's around you, because what's good for somebody else and what might work for them may not work for you. And I feel like a lot of women, you get caught up in that of this is where I'm supposed to be. Well, the rule book says this is how it has to be. There is no rule book. And as soon as you get that in your mind, the happier you will be in life. And I really do think that God has a way of just making things come together when you just stray from what you think things are supposed to be.
Troy, you getting ready to graduate? Rowan University?
Yes.
You about to be in these streets for real.
Oh, no. Okay.
Patty.
As a
In these streets?
I know.
Who's teaching Patty this lingo?
I got a billboard now. I'm in these streets.
You got a billboard, so Patty's popping, basically.
You're about to get out here,
Yes.
embarking on a career. You look at your life. I don't know if you want to be a wife, a mother, but how do you feel?
Well, I mean, I do want to be a wife and a mother, but right now at this moment, I've realized that I need to focus on my career. When I was focusing on someone else, it kind of halted my aspirations in my career area. And then after I dropped them, everything started picking up. And I was like, ooh. So I think I'm just going to not necessarily take a break, but not be looking for someone. If it happens, then that's beautiful. But right now, I'm not looking for someone. I'm mostly focusing on my career and where I'll be and being comfortable with myself, because I am young and I feel like I still need to get to know myself before I can be put into a relationship with someone else right now. I just want to get to know myself more, love myself more than I already do, so I can be solid and confident in my relationship and not let someone who I may get in a relationship with be intimidated by my success, make me lower myself. So right now, I'm just chilling.
Tam, what do you think? I remember seeing an interview that Whitney Houston did with Oprah Winfrey, and she talked about her relationship with Bobby Brown. Mm-hmm. And she said, I had to make myself small in order to make him look big.
That's that male ego.
And that's what I was just about to say. It's crazy. Most of us are in the dating realm or have dated or had different experiences. And me being a go-getter, you notice that you're like, all right, the man wants to sit there and show that he's the boss in a relationship, when really, like, I know I wear the pants. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's sad to say that most women are getting comfortable settling for less, or like, diminishing themselves and their aspirations and their work ethic to make it seem like the man is the one that's really holding down the house. And I think that, again, as society is starting to change, that we need to somehow find a way of changing that mentality to say that women, it's okay, to work hard, and your man, like, if he's not stepping up, like, why are you losing credit for yourself because he's not stepping up?
Yeah, but dealing with that male ego is a very hard thing.
Do you think there's a balance in the male ego?
And that's what I wanted to chime in. I have a variety of thoughts, which is, but when you were talking about, I'm focusing on this, I'm focusing on that, that's kind of what I was trying to say. Like, you got to pick what you're dealing with at whatever given point. I remember when I was in career mode, that's all I cared about. When I'm in relationship mode, that's what you got to focus on, because there's only so many hours of the day. You only have so much energy. But with what you said in terms of, I just think that it's about picking and choosing, like, and understanding what the needs are of your man and how you have to shift and be around him. And it's hard. It's very difficult to be like, well, I got to be this person over here, I got to be this person over there. But I remember dating a guy that I'm kind of still talking to, and he said, keep that at work. This is different. You and me are different. So understanding that some of the qualities that make us successful at work, they work, but for work. when you come home, you got to check that at the door
Right.
and understand what kind of man that you have. If you have the man that's okay with you being powerful and the boss and do this and do that, then okay, you have that man. But if you don't have that man, you have to understand, you saying, take out the trash, do this, did you change the kids? You gonna cut his balls off. Poor guy.
I want things done.
You know what I'm saying? Check that at the door. Check it at the door.
Mina, you are so right. Listen to what I'm saying, because I'm coming from a 24-year relationship. So I can tell you, and raising 2 children, what you have to do, you cannot handle your business the way you handle your man.
Right.
That is a completely different way of dealing with things. Sometimes you got to fall back and just let it go.
Because here's the thing. We want the man that supports us and brings home the bacon. We want our equal, our male counterpart. We want him to be aggressive and assertive and plan dates and do this. That kind of man has a certain kind of brain. He's the alpha male. The alpha male will never let you make him feel like the B. Never.
That's right.
So you have to understand, if you want the man that's going to handle all those things as successful, ambitious women, you want that counterpart. You got to understand when you got to lay down, let him be the lion, and you can be the lioness. Baby boy, go do your lion thing. I'm going to sit right here and take care of the kids.
Lisa, was it hard for you to take that?
It took some time. You have to learn the situations. You have to understand the culture and learn the situations. You know, case in point, I might say, babe, I think we should paint this wall yellow. And he'd say, that's ridiculous. I can't believe you would say that. It makes no sense. And a month later, he'd come and say, I think we should paint this wall yellow. Instead of me saying, that's what I said a month ago, I would say, babe, that's a great idea. I'm so glad you came up with that. Because guess what? I got my yellow wall and I'm good. I'm good.
Toya.
But then also you have to think about the men who are supportive in the beginning, but as soon as you supersede a certain level, they can't take it. They just remove themselves from it. And I've had, I can only see, go off of my own experience. When I was in college, I had a boyfriend all throughout, and he just didn't like the fact of me going out there, getting jobs, trying to go in my career path. And I asked him, I was like, I don't understand, where's this coming from? Because you've been so supportive the whole time. And he says to me, well, I just thought you would just go to school and get your degree, and then I would just take care of you. You don't have to work. And I'm like, well, what was the point? What you think, I'm just going to school for fun? You think I'm out here going through all these headaches just for fun? No, I am my own person. I love my independence. And I love being coupled up, but I also love my independence. And I find that independence through my career path. So you have to let me be me. I would never stunt a man from doing what he wanted to do.
Shanine, how hard is it?
It's really hard because, I don't have the patience. And I find it that, I get it. And I believe in us playing our roles and supporting our men and the men supporting us, because just like any other animal, we have an ecosystem that we have to follow as well.
Right.
And just like Mina, you use the analogy of the lion and the lioness. I always say, if the lioness stopped hunting, there would be a problem, because that's the way their nature lies. So we have a nature in us to where we have to respect each other's individual species. But at the same time, I'm going to need you to get with it. And I'm going to need you to be willing and ready to accept my personality and character just as much as I'm willing and ready to accept yours. And that all comes down to understanding and willing to put effort towards each other's love languages. I read this book, and it was saying each one of us all have a love language. And it's the way you communicate to your lover. Because there are some men that just know, my baby got a mouth on her, and that's just what's going to happen. She ain't going to change, but my baby also know that I'm her man, and I never feel any less than.
Right, but that's the thing. That woman, despite the mouth, has come to a point where she knows what his needs are, and she caters to them.
Exactly.
So that's really what it's about. What does he need in there, and then catering to that. I also think your life goes through transitions and phases, and not everyone is ready to transition and phase with you.
That goes with taking time. That's why we take our time when we date. That's why we take our time and enjoy ourselves in our individual moments. When we had that single time, I love when Toya say, I don't mind being single, because I don't either.
Right.
You enjoy, you figure out what books you like, you figure out what you want to do next in your career in that time. And that's what that time is for. So when it's the time for that person to appear, you can assess it the proper way and go ahead and be fab in love.
Right. That's why people need to wait, definitely. Yeah.
Tam, you ready?
It's always Carter coming after this one. She got bars.
Yes.
Troy,
Yes.
you get ready to get out here. Do you think you're ready? Because I know you're picking up and just learning.
Yeah.
This journey is what you're heading into.
Now, ready to do what? Just
In terms of
career?
you've got your career, you're looking at your career.
Yes.
There's going to be love down the line.
I am ready. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited because
Okay.
I know I'm still naive about some things. Not too much. Like, I'm not going to let no man do no stupid stuff, but maybe a little bit. But, like,
There's levels. They always gonna do some stupid stuff. You gotta pick your battles.
But I'm excited to see where my life goes, who I'm with, where I'll be working, where I'll be living. I'm excited about it. It's so enticing, but it's still so nerve-wracking. Like, I'm like, really, where will you be living? Who is this person that you will potentially be dating? Will you even like the people you work with? So, I mean, it has its ups, it has its downs, but for the most part, I can't wait.
Can women have it all? It's our discussion this week on Patty and the Millennials. I'm Patty Jackson, Mina, Toya, Lisa, Troy, Tam, and Janine. Thank you, ladies. You can find Patty and the Millennials, the podcast, right here at wdas-fm.com.